What is up, everybody? Another Wednesday, another business party podcast. How are you doing, Jackie?
I'm doing great. It's been a long day, but I'm excited to be here with you guys tonight. I'm so lame.
the, give the finger guns. Yeah.
It's gonna be
And
one of those.
speaking of long days and nights, that's apparently what's happened with Davy, and his daughter doesn't seem to want to sleep. So the man is like
Mm,
about dead. So I understand that he's needing to miss a little bit of time sometimes. What's happening, everyone in the comments? What's up, Maddie? What's up, Lone Star? And seen Pigskin earlier. What's happening, homie?
hey guys.
Yep, it's gonna be a
Hello.
nice, easygoing Wednesday because there isn't a whole lot. I mean, there's a little bit of news going on, but yeah, I'm what role playing Camel Harris. I'm currently eating brats for dinner. Yeah, and there's a little bit of news going on and whatnot. But how's everybody else doing? How's your guys' games going over there in fantasy football world? My team is very wishy washy, of course. Fucking fantasy. What up, Rich?
Hey, Rich.
Yep,
Yeah, I
just
have no
us.
idea what's going on in football either. Like, I've just been out of the loop on a lot of things. I saw
Yeah,
that the Eagles
obviously, I'm
won.
more
That's
into it.
about it.
Yeah, they did, yeah. I'm a little bit more into it again, obviously, playing the, fantasy football, I have to be.
Mm-hmm.
Playing card games,
Hey.
Nan and Pop, nice.
Oh, Wayne the Hurricane. Tell them I said hello and I love them. It's my Nana Pop that they're talking about.
Nice. Very nice.
Nice to see you. Anyways.
Yeah, we'll start off
Oh
with
yeah,
one of
so
well, go ahead.
sorry. I know I was going to ask you about your fantasy football team because I don't even know what's going on with that.
Uh,
What's your name?
Mullet Mob.
Who's your greatest pick?
It's Mullet team name is Mullet Mob, and the best pick that I did have was Christian McCaffrey because I got first in the league that I'm playing with Lone Star and Pigskin. So it started
Nice.
off all great, and I do have a pretty decent team, but he's also was hurt from fucking game one because it's like an Achilles slash calf injury. So he'll
Mhm.
probably be out until like week 8 now, I bet. We'll see.
And who
So
does he play for?
San Francisco now. Yeah, he was on
Okay.
Carolina forever.
Mhm. I knew the name sounded familiar.
Like, and the league is so crazy this year with like how everybody has switched teams. There's a bunch of teams that have like really iffy quarterbacks and whatnot. So it's an interesting time for football right now. Of course, the other main guys got hurt. Fucking Cooper Cup's hurt, and there's a whole bunch of dudes. It seems to be how it goes. That's my only gripe with fantasy football is like, man, sometimes it's great. Then like 2 weeks in, you're like, oh, my guy's fucking injured again. Of course.
Yeah. Oh man.
No, it should be though. Should have that as my mascot. It's kind of who we have up here on our top for the logo. Little Joe Dirt action, the mullet in there.
Absolutely, for sure. So I interrupted you before you were getting into it. So
Oh, that's all right. Actually, well, by the way that our title is for the episode, we'll go ahead and kind of jump right into it. Is World War III creeping in? Because this is one of the things that I guess NATO is preparing for. NATO prepares plan for huge casualties in case of war with Russia. So this is, I guess, part of their map. Increase supply of long range weapons, blah blah blah. And then whereas prepare logistics of mass. I'm assuming mass would be casualties or whatnot in here. Yeah, they have all
mhm.
sorts of shit building up, which we'll get a little bit more into some other stuff that's going on with all that. But here you go. NATO is planning for a significant number of casualties of potential conflicts with Russia. In potential conflicts with Russia. Lieutenant General Alexander Sulfrank revealed that the organization is developing mass evacuation and medical support strategies for wounded troops. He noted that unlike previous conflicts, war with Russia could lead to heavy losses across vast battlefields, making traditional air evacuations too risky. Sulfrank emphasized the need for transportation network for a transportation network using specialized trains due to the threat from Russian air defenses. Germany's military predicts a possible Russian attack on NATO by 2029. Geez, that's that. Like, why would he? What, in response, NATO is enhancing its defensive capabilities and conducting extensive military exercises involving tens of thousands of troops. My whole like, why are you thinking by 2029? Like, why?
Yeah. Why wouldn't it happen sooner? Like,
Yeah,
if it's, like, this existential threat, right?
right. Yeah, like, that just does like
Unless they're, like, counting on, okay, is there gonna be some type of arms race and kind of like a buildup before it all goes down?
right, which I can somewhat see, but that's a long ass time. Like, I would think that that would happen well before then, because I mean, as Russia has already said quite a few times, and we'll get to something that Putin just said not too long ago, that if NATO encroaches too much on their area, or if they start getting hit with anything from NATO, it's game on. It's Article 5, you know?
Yeah.
China has the Volt Typhoon attack and invasion of Taiwan in 2027. Why are there dates for attacks? It doesn't make sense to me.
Listen, we're gonna do it guerrilla style in 2027. You know,
Right, in
like
20, yeah, exactly. That just doesn't make sense to me. It's weird.
oh my goodness.
And then,
Said we had kielbasa for dinner, kinda like brats.
kielbasa. And then, yeah, let's bring this up with Putin. Putin calls for new nuclear deterrence doctrine. From I'm assuming that's DW. I don't know who that is. That's not Daily Wire. Obviously, it doesn't look like it. Russian President Vladimir Putin has proposed updating the country's nuclear deterrence strategy. He stated that any aggression against Russia by a non nuclear state supported by a nuclear state would be treated as a joint attack. This update comes during an ongoing war in Ukraine. Putin emphasized that the use of nuclear weapons is an extreme measure to defend Russia's sovereignty. He noted Russia reserves the right to use nuclear weapons in response to threats from conventional attacks. He believes that it is crucial to maintain global stability and prevent the spread of nuclear arms. The discussion highlights the serious threat of nuclear escalation amid ongoing conflicts. And I know that they were like in not like too close to waters, but Russia just had ships out by Alaska too, supposedly in neutral waters. But it's like you guys are still moving shit out over, but it was a pretty decent size like fleet too, I guess. So then
Mhm.
we started sending people up there, like other troops and shit. So
Right. Lord only knows what's gonna happen with all that.
yeah, I think it's getting a lot fucking closer. I just
Absolutely.
yeah, I don't know how exactly it's gonna get totally kicked off, or that's why it's just weird for them, like, say, by 2029 or what, like, why would it still be going on for that many fucking years? But it's not like Russia and Ukraine hasn't been going on this long, which
Mhm.
I personally think Putin's been holding back because I think he could stomp out Ukraine, like, pretty fucking easy.
Right. Well, what's going on though is that a bunch of countries like surrounding that said that they wouldn't join NATO are now joining NATO. And then Ukraine talking about joining NATO. And I'm like, why are you poking the bear? Like literally.
Right.
Because it's because they're seeing it as an offense to them that they're like, okay, well, now we're surrounded by all these NATO countries
Mhm.
and they're gonna come in. So it's just a powder keg ready to blow for sure.
Right. And how long I think, well, ever since they were fucking formed, basically, has Putin been saying that just don't come near us. Like, you can
Mhm.
the closer you get to us, the more we're gonna take it as, like, a threat.
Right. And what is it about like I honestly don't know. And I want to know what like what is it about Ukraine itself that has everyone like throwing all their money at it right
To be
now?
honest, I'm not totally sure besides what Lindsey Graham was kinda saying, that it's more for the resources and shit, because they do have a
So
lot of
what
good natural resources.
resources?
I'm not sure
Like
exactly, but I know
wheat?
no, there's a lot more than that there. But I'm not sure exactly what, but I know that there's a good amount of resources there. I mean, it probably wouldn't take much to, like, really totally look into what they do have there, because there's probably shit that
Mhm.
they have there that they don't source out themselves, or, maybe not. Maybe they
Right.
might have mad oil there or some shit, or
Mad
'cause you
corruption there. I mean, hmm?
yeah, mad corruption for sure.
So Rich says it's officially
Yeah.
a fifth of the world's wheat and other minerals. But okay,
Yeah, it's a bunch
fine.
of other shit. It's not really the wheat, but yeah, they do have a lot of it, but yeah.
So we're spending all this money then to protect, wheat and I guess all these other minerals, but then yet closing down and shutting down any production or anything that we can have to mine resources out of Alaska.
Mhm.
Is that right? And our home turf.
Right.
Okay. Oh, and unofficially, there's 25 to
Oh,
30
yeah.
biolabs and the Burisma scandal. Yeah, and isn't Rich, tell me if I'm wrong, that the biolabs are almost kind of like on the border between Ukraine and Russia too. So,
I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah. Just have Rich come on in. Just come on in, Rich.
Yeah, right.
um, well, speaking of Ukraine and everything, so Mike Johnson put out a letter today because today's the 25th. Is that correct? Yes.
A few in the middle or so, but most on the border. Yeah, figures.
Yeah. Um, here we go. Let me share this if I can.
Yep.
Do you have it up? Nope.
Bring
Here
it
we
up,
go.
Jamie.
Bring it up if I can find it. Here we go. So, House Speaker Mike Johnson he demanded that Zelensky fire the Ukraine ambassador to the United States immediately. And I'm going to read his letter fairly quickly so you guys get an understanding, and then so Mike Johnson's letter postmarked today. He said, "Dear President Zelensky, I demand that you immediately fire Ukraine's ambassador to the United States, Oksana Markova. Markova. Let's see. As you've said, Ukrainians have tried to avoid being captured by American domestic politics and influencing the choices of the American people ahead of the November elections. Clearly, that objective was abandoned this week when Ambassador Markova organized an event in which you toured an American manufacturing site. I think it was in Pennsylvania. So the facility was in a politically contested battleground state, was led by a top political surrogate for Kamala Harris, and failed to include a single Republican because, on purpose, no Republicans were invited. The tour was clearly a partisan campaign event designed to help Democrats and is clearly election interference. This short sighted and intentionally political move has caused Republicans to lose trust in Ambassador Markova's ability to fairly and effectively serve as a diplomat in the country. She should be removed from her post immediately. Additionally, as I have clearly stated in the past, all foreign nations should avoid opining on or interfering in American domestic politics. Support for ending Russia's war against Ukraine continues to be bipartisan, but our relationship is unnecessarily tested and needlessly tarnished when the candidate at the top of the Republican presidential ticket are targeted in the media by officials in your government. These incidents cannot be repeated. Thank you for your prompt attention to this matter, and I trust you will take immediate action. That was a very strongly worded letter.
Strongly worded letter. As per my last email.
Yeah, as per my request. But
Yeah, it's
so
kind of funny that now he's all about being like that. Whatever
Well,
Johnson's been all about giving Ukraine money. But yeah.
yes. And
But
that's
but for
another.
one thing, Zelensky should shut his fucking mouth about anything about with any of our candidates or any of that shit. You
Mhm.
should shut the fuck up, dude.
Absolutely. And on the heels of that letter too, this is not what I had up. I didn't want something about a sex scandal. This is it.
I was like,
But we'll
whoa.
read that one later. I was like, "Wait, hold on. What? A trio
Yeah.
a trio of sex scandals create an unwelcome September surprise for the GOP."
Now you've got my
What?
attention.
Excuse me? Interest has been piqued.
Right?
We'll get to that in I'll go to that later.
Uh-huh.
But so coming off the heels of Speaker Johnson demanding that Zelensky fire the ambassador, the House Oversight and Accountability Chair, James Comer, on Wednesday morning, this morning, launched an inquiry into Zelensky's trip to Pennsylvania, suggesting a visit to the factory that supplied munitions to the country constituted a campaign stop for Vice President Harris. Now, they're saying that it constitutes as a campaign stop for Vice President Harris because Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, who was also in no, not contention, in the running. I'll just say that
Mm-hmm.
be the vice president. Uh, nomin. Girl, I'm gonna start over. All right, it's been a long day.
How
So
now, brown cow? How now, brown cow?
I can't even do that.
Uh,
Okay. The Harris campaign was looking at Josh Shapiro as a potential running mate for vice president.
okay.
Does that make sense? Did I get it out right? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so they were in Pennsylvania. Josh Shapiro was there. So they're saying that because he was a contender to become the vice presidential nominee,
Mm-hmm.
that it constitutes somehow as like a campaign thing. But also, I'll just read this. Republicans cried foul over the visit on Tuesday, particularly after Zelensky himself, not just they say Zelensky and not just the ambassador, had issued critical comments about former President Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, during the separate interview. It says Johnson and Comer, however, said appearing with a political figure who was briefly a contender seat to serve as Harris's running mate made the stop political in nature. And then they read a little bit of his um things, his letter. And then it says Democrats dismissed Johnson and Comer's comments as another instance of the GOP turning their back on an important U.S. ally. As President Zelensky fights for freedom and the rule of law on behalf of democracies around the world, Donald Trump and his craven MAGA followers side time and again with Vladimir Putin. Mr. Jamie Raskin, hair plugs from Maryland, the top Democrat of the oversight panel, said in a statement. Zelensky visits was described by Pennsylvania as him making a special trip to the Keystone State to visit the Pennsylvania workers who are playing a vital role in Ukraine's defense. So his Pennsylvania visit mirrors a trip he did to Utah in July, where he met with Republican Governor Spencer Cox and signed a memorandum of understanding with state leaders. I'll say this. Why? Why are all these things being done?
Right.
Signing a statement, a memorandum
Mm-hmm.
for of understanding of what? They're going to give your taxpayer money over to this person who's like basically coming over here and saying, "Daddy, please, I need more money. I
Right.
spent all my allowance."
Right.
Like
Exactly.
what is this money going to? Does anybody know?
Straight to fucking hell, it seems. Because if you're still asking for it and we're hurting and you're still getting it, it's getting laundered somewhere. I'll tell you that.
Right. Honestly, like where is it going? Yeah.
fucking on Raskin. It's pube plugs. The guy puts pubes on his head. It looks like it. His hair does look like pubes. I'm not gonna lie.
And also, yeah, there is
Yeah,
no oversight whatsoever.
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for like helping people out or whatever, but you need to tell me where my money's going. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in an interview with the New Yorker published Sunday, Zelensky called Vance too radical due to his views on Ukraine and suggested the senator study World War II. Vance has called, but isn't he a Nazi then? You know, you all call him Nazis and stuff.
Right.
Shouldn't Vance already know about what World War II is about?
Yeah. And
Sorry.
why the fuck do I need to study World War II, bitch? Like,
Right.
this is right now. And I'm sorry, but man, even if fucking Putin stomped out Zelensky today in Ukraine,
Mhm.
he is not going to go past there. Nobody's going to convince me otherwise. Everyone thinks that he wants to try to take over all of Europe and shit. You're not going to
Right.
convince me he's going to do that.
And isn't Zelensky the one that, like, they haven't had an election? What do you mean
Yeah,
study
I
World War
did. Yeah,
II?
right. Yeah, no, they were supposed to, and I think they did away with it because the war time right now. Yeah,
Yeah. Sure. Sure, Jan.
yeah, sure, Jan.
Vance has called to end U.S. support for Ukraine and for Kiev to cede territory to Russia in a peace deal. The idea that the world should end its war with this war at Ukraine's expense is unacceptable. Of course, he's going to say that. He's the leader of Ukraine. Zelensky struck a more cautious tone towards Trump, saying they have had good conversations on the phone, but that the GOP presidential candidate doesn't really know how to stop the war, even if he might think he knows how. Comer's letter asked the White House Justice Department officials and the Pentagon to provide details about any coordination about the trip, accusing the Biden administration of having orchestrated and used government resources to make possible this apparent campaign event that resulted in a potential interference in the federal election.
Hmm.
I don't like him coming over here begging for money,
Yeah,
honestly.
I don't at all.
It's like it doesn't feel it feels icky.
Yeah, well, like him, and also whenever douchebag came over here too, Netanyahu.
Oh, yeah.
His bitch ass shouldn't be over
Mm,
here and fucking talking in our
no.
government halls and shit either. It's fucking ridiculous.
No. Like he like and I'll say with Netanyahu, I from what I understand, and I could be wrong, and let me know if I am, is that his visit was strictly to DC. He talked to Congress and Senate and stuff, and the
Mhm.
president, and like that was it. And they went on his merry way. This is like the never-ending American tour for Zelensky. What the fuck is he doing in Colorado or Utah
Yeah, I
or
know. He
whatever?
shouldn't
Like, why is
uh
he going to Pennsylvania?
yeah, why aren't you going to fucking Ukraine and trying to defeat Putin, motherfucker? Why are you over here?
Right. Yeah. I
Yeah, this
mean,
is bullshit.
I don't know. So, House Oversight Democrats suggested Comer's new probe reflects a broader effort to undermine Ukraine. America didn't forget that Chairman Comer called Ukraine a foreign adversary and used the committee to repeat and amplify Russian propaganda. It is sadly unsurprising he is once again working to undermine Ukraine's effort to repel Putin's lawless, bloody, and unjustified invasion. Chairman Comer obviously doesn't understand nor appreciate the concept of an ally. America is an ally of Ukraine, and Ukraine is an ally of America, Raskin said. Ukraine
Man,
is in the
I
middle
can't
of.
wait for them
Oh,
to
go ahead.
give us money one day.
I know, right? Well, what it is paying for, overseas money that's going over there that's not being taxed and stuff, like from all the rich people who are like scamming everybody.
Right.
So basically, it's I think they're getting fleeced being like, "Listen, you need to give us all this money, or we're gonna, tell everyone about your secret deals and stuff with us."
Everyone should start
But they
tagging Zelensky on X or something like that. Be like, "Hey, buddy, I'm claiming you as a dependent."
right.
So you know,
uh, says Ukraine is in the middle of a war with Russia, thrust upon it by Vladimir Putin's filthy, imperialist, and iridescent invasion.
I think they spelled
Nope,
that wrong too.
ear dentist. I said iridescent.
Is
Anyway,
that
the
is that
American
what it's supposed
people.
to be? You're a dentist?
I've never heard it before.
Like that doesn't sound right. Keep reading. I'm gonna
Hold
find
on.
out.
Uh, oh yeah, I was gonna copy paste and find out. Okay, the American people have invested billions of dollars to help Ukraine defend the sovereignty and democracy because we share common interests in something called values.
I guess it is right. Iridentism,
What does it mean?
a political principle or policy directed toward the incorporation of irredentas within the boundaries of their historically or ethnically related political unit. So that just sounds like a bunch of fucking word garbage.
He's a lawyer, though, right? You're
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah, so that means he's a fucking liar. I don't care any of you that are listening. If you are a lawyer, you know a liar. Guess what? They're a lawyer. Guess what? They're a fucking liar. So I don't know what to tell
I
you.
won't tell my uncle that. No.
Tell them. Be like you're not gonna tell me you've never lied and fucked with the law to get a win. You're not gonna convince me you haven't. And
If
here's some
they're
more
there
war
to be
shit.
fucked with, is what they say.
Yeah. Oh, and here's some more war shit. U.S. troops deployed to Cyprus as fears of wider Middle East war intensify. CNN politics. Dozens of U.S. troops have been deployed to Cyprus due to rising tensions between Israel and Hezbollah, preparing for
Oh
potential
boy.
evacuations of U.S. citizens from Lebanon in conflict. If conflict escalates, the U.S. military is sending a small number of U.S. military personnel forward as a precaution. Historically, Cyprus assisted in evacuating nationals during the 2006 Israel Hezbollah conflict. The UK has also deployed 700 troops to Cyprus for possible emergency evacuations. Both countries have advised their citizens in Lebanon to leave as soon as possible. Tensions have intensified with recent Israeli airstrikes in Lebanon, prompting retaliatory rocket attacks from Hezbollah. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken confirmed ongoing diplomatic efforts to prevent a full-blown war, while cautioning about the risk of regional escalation involving Iran, Hezbollah's key ally. So yeah, I'm waiting for Iran to start getting it more in on it. You know what I think is fucking funny though? How many years have
Hmm.
we been hearing that Iran is just so far away from obtaining enough, whatever plutonium to make nuclear warheads and whatever else. Like it's always like they're like a year away. Then it's like
Right.
they're like 10 months away, and then be like a year down the road. They're like 2 years away. Like what the
Right.
fuck, dude? Been hearing about that forever.
2029.
Yeah, I swear.
2029.
I
It's
think
like,
they're just
when they told us that, Florida was going to be underwater and stuff by 2014. Al
yeah,
Gore.
yeah.
Inconvenient truth.
Al Gore.
Inconvenient lies. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's so stupid. But yeah. No, well, I mean, wasn't it the uh babies and incubators, and it was secret, like, warheads and stuff or whatever.
Hmm.
Weapons of mass destruction, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That got us partially into the Middle East as well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Didn't
Crazy.
say didn't like Bush come out and like well he didn't like apologize, but they said something to him about that, and he think he said something like, well, maybe I shouldn't have said something like that or some shit. I forgot what it was. Like he didn't actually apologize like in any way, he just like kind of blew it off, which of course he would.
Yeah. It's like these different little like the baby and incubators one is actually kind of crazy. Where they even had like the girl go up to Congress and talk about how like there was babies and incubators getting killed and stuff over there, and it's like, wait,
Mm-hmm.
what? And it was a
Wasn't
lie.
wasn't there just some article out not too long ago, or was it hold on, or was it Glenn Beck? Oh no, okay, that's that one. Actually, I could bring that up real quick because this is
Hmm.
actually pretty interesting. I've been hearing about this. So, off of all of that war shit, let's go on to globalist bullshit. Let's hear what Glenn Beck has to say about George Soros is buying up hundreds of radio stations before the election, and Brendan Carr, FCC, confirms the FCC is helping him. We have a very clear process to review the foreign ownership at issue here. The FCC Commission, for the very first time ever, has skipped that process for the benefit of this Soros backed group.
And what is us like? What's up with us allowing all these foreign, um,
Countries do
honestly,
anything here?
countries like buy up everything here
Yeah, like
between
China
China
owning land
and
and yeah.
and
I don't get that
farmland and
at all.
stuff?
No foreign country should be owning a fucking thing over here besides if you want
Mm-mm.
to bring your business over here and conduct business, cool. But that's
Right,
about fucking it, dog. You shouldn't be owning fucking entire radio stations. You shouldn't be owning fucking land over here. And like if you do a business, you can own like I guess part of that land and that building and shit. But generally, that's fucking it. Like China's owning farmland and shit. Like no,
right. I think I heard like Tim Pool say that they're like taking off the top of there's the topsoil from the
yeah,
land and sending it back over to China.
not surprised. They're like, this is good. Let's send it back. All right, let's
Right.
hear Glenn Beck say and this Brendan Carr on George Soros buying up radio stations.
Brendan, tell me, is do I have this right? First of all, about the George Soros takeover of radio stations, and if so, why was there an exception made and fast tracked?
Well, as you know, the New York Post has a story out last week, or actually yesterday, that says that the FCC
Fucking
last week
rat dog.
adopted an
Like
order
you're in
that
the fire
effectively
alarm
fast
chirp.
tracks Soros's purchase of these 200 radio stations. And I haven't, commented on that publicly because the fact is the FCC hasn't released a final decision to the public yet. But the reporting is that we adopted it last week in a 3-2 vote. I've been outspoken on this particular issue for the reasons that you talked about. We have a very clear process at the FCC that we've set up that could take 6 months, could take a year to go through to review the foreign ownership at issue here. But for reasons that are not sort of plain to me, the FCC Commission, for the very first time ever, has skipped that process for the benefit of this Soros-backed group. And I'll sort of let people draw their own conclusions about it. But again,
They want to skip that, but if you're a U.S. citizen and you just want to use a ham fucking radio, you can't without a license or you'll go to jail.
Right.
Like, get fucked. This is ridiculous. It's very, very telling by them skipping that process.
it's an
Yeah.
unprecedented decision for
Like
the
what?
commission.
Like honestly, it's
there you
like
go.
what are they afraid of? So you're skipping this whole process. Why? And it just makes me think of like back during like COVID and stuff when
Well,
they
and they
skipped a lot of processes there. It's like
right. Well, and
why?
supposedly they're
Like you're
like,
not
"Oh, we'll
doing
we'll
what
come
you need
back
to
and
do.
do whatever tests or process needs to be done." Like, what the fuck are you gonna do it later after you've already been put through? That doesn't make any fucking sense. It's like
Right.
them saying, "Oh, we'll get all these illegals to come back to their court date in fucking 6-7 years." Yeah, okay, sure, Jan. Like you're saying, sure, Jan.
Right.
Yeah, because that'll happen. Oh
But I mean,
nope,
even
damn it.
yeah. So,
It's all right.
but even the commissioner sounds like he sounds surprised. Like I'm
Right.
sure he's one that didn't vote for it. Yeah, I really. This is unbelievable.
See, and it's fucked up for it just to be going through whatever else. And this guy's the commissioner. Shouldn't he be able to say, like, no, we shouldn't do this?
Right.
Which makes you wonder how everything is so fucked up ran in this fucking country and shit.
Never happened before.
That's right. We at the commission level adopted one way that you can buy radio stations if you have excessive foreign ownership, which they do. And that one process is this lengthy 6 to 1 year national security review, and it's been skipped here. Now, a lot of these stations are probably just, classic rock or news, but not all of them.
They don't have to be. They can switch
there's a number
formats.
of stations that, there's a number of stations that you're on. For instance, at least 3 stations that you're on that are part of this deal. Same with Sean Hannity, same with Dana Lash, same with Mark Levin.
Yeah.
So there's at least some of these that are, conservative news and talk outlets.
I got to tell you, if this was a conservative doing this, I doubt the FCC would have okayed it. Any ramifications? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, Glenn, we actually have that example. So not too long ago, maybe a year or so ago, there was a group of conservative buyers that wanted to purchase some South Florida radio stations. And a number of Democrats spoke up very loudly and said the FCC cannot allow these conservative outlets to buy these radio stations because, in the Democrats' view, it could cost them elections in South Florida. And amidst that pressure campaign, the conservative buyers abandoned the deal. And so we've seen across the board concerted efforts by Democrats to sort of weaponize the government to go against conservative speech. There was California Democrats in Congress that wrote letter to cable companies telling them to drop Fox News, Newsmax, and OAN because of the editorial decisions that their newsrooms were making. We had a Baltimore Democrat prosecutor call on the FCC to investigate a local TV station that was exposing her own corruption. And so this is sort of the reverse side of a pattern that we've been living under the last couple of years of weaponization of government power, in my view, frankly, against free speech.
100%.
Yep.
And you want to know a good example of something like that? And it's actually a beautiful segue to something else, but do you have something to say about it before I do that?
The only thing that I have to say is that it's pretty fucking obvious that George Soros, of all people, isn't buying that for a good reason. I mean, just so everybody's clear on that. And if you don't know who Soros is, I'm pretty surprised, but look him up, look up everything about him. You can learn how fucking shady he is and the fact that he's not allowed in certain countries, including his own country, for fucking tanking their systems and shit, betting against their dollars. There's a 60 Minutes episode with him from like 90, I want to say like 98 or 99 or some shit like that. And you can see how fucking sociopathic he is. Like, he doesn't fucking care about what, the only thing he cares about is his fucking money. He doesn't care about the social consequences. None of that for any of his actions. Does not
I
give
can't
a
believe
shit.
he's still alive, to be honest.
I can't too.
With you.
Well, that's why his son, his fucking that douchebag is gonna be fucking taking over a lot of shit.
Which is crazy to me that so George Soros's son is Alexander Soros. He's engaged to Uma Abedin.
Yeah. That's was it Scott Weiner's
Anthony Weiner's ex-wife, but she was also very close. What is she, like a aide to Hillary Clinton?
Yeah.
Part of like the whole getting rid of evidence. Wiping all the data like with a cloth. That like smashing cell phones with hammers. Part of all that.
Yeah, it should be on the up and up.
Yeah, right. It should be on the up and up.
Perfectly fine.
But no, so speaking of buying, radio stations, things like that. So it's the Elon Musk parody account, but I thought it was funny. So it says, I have the opportunity to do the funniest possible thing. So a judge has ordered the auction of Alex Jones' InfoWars to pay for the legal damages to the Sandy Hook families. So Jones' life work, InfoWars, will be sold off to the highest bidder and liquidated in November. I just want to show that because it's just, I'm thinking, so what if, right, there was a conservative outlet or person or whatever can see this going on, the liquidation of InfoWars, and went to buy it up. Could it be something that the FCC would have anything to do with, or no? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, well, as far as like when they're on, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know otherwise. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, because I mean, he was still on some terrestrial radio,
Right.
right? So, anyway, it says, so I just wanted to read this because InfoWars is the one that actually like got me into looking up into stuff, honestly.
Right.
I would listen to Alex Jones and he would talk all these crazy things and he would say all these like organizations and people and I'm like, who is he talking about? So when I would listen, I would actually write down things that he say that I had no idea what he was talking about and look it up afterwards. And that's how I got to like figure out a little bit how his brain works. And I was like,
Right.
oh. So I haven't watched him in a little bit. So seeing all this, I just kind of want to know what's going on. But conspiracy. Oh, I like the first line. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. Alex Jones's InfoWars media platform and its assets will be sold off piece by piece in auctions this fall to help pay for the more than $1 billion he owes relatives of victims for the Sandy Hook elementary shooting under an order expected to be approved by a federal judge. So it hasn't been approved yet. This is all speculative then.
This is the biggest fucking bunch of bullshit ever. Like it's 100% just shits all over the First Amendment.
Well, apparently though too, they had someone through the court who was like helping with like look at financial stuff and things to make sure things were on the up and up, and they were corrupted and they're trying to make him do things, or I don't know. There's like a whole other big backstory to like things that have been going on with this whole case itself.
Yeah.
So, so it says U.S. bankruptcy judge Christopher Lopez in Houston said during a court hearing Tuesday that he will approve the auction that start in November. But he said he first must change a previous order to make it clear that the trustee overseeing Jones's personal bankruptcy case controls all the assets of InfoWars' parent company, Free Speech Systems, which is 100% owned by Jones. Despite the pending loss of his company, Jones vows to continue his talk show through other means, possibly including a new website and his personal social media accounts. He also has suggested that InfoWars assets could be bought by his supporters, allowing him to continue hosting his show as an employee under the InfoWars brand in the hometown of Austin, Texas. Could you imagine if someone just like that'd be
awesome if someone cool bought it up. Yeah.
Yeah. But what if it was like someone like Mark Cuban? You're like, no. Honestly.
If he bought it up, I guarantee Jones would be like, I'm not doing that.
I don't think you'd have a choice, though.
Then I would go on there and get fired on purpose.
Yeah. So it says it's very cut and dry that the assets of Free Speech Systems, the website, the equipment, the shopping cart, all that can be sold, Jones said on a recent show. And they know full well that there are a bunch of Patriot buyers, and then the operation can ease on. I actually would listen to that show, and he did say that. Yeah, Jones and his company both filed bankruptcy protection in 2022. The same year, the Sandy Hook families nearly won $1.5 billion in defamation and emotional distress lawsuits against Jones for his repeatedly calling the 2012 shooting a hoax staged by crisis actors to get more gun control legislation passed. Did it say 21st? Yeah, oh, 21st. Okay, first. Okay, I was like, wait, 21st what? Okay. Okay, talks about 21st graders, 6 educators killed in Newtown, Connecticut shooting. Here's the thing.
Didn't he also like really only say it like once? Like they say repeated. I don't think he repeated it more than maybe twice.
what he did is he allowed, there's this guy, Wolfgang something or whatever. His name, I don't know. But he used to be a school safety dude. I don't know. Like he showed like school safety
Yeah.
protocols or something like that. And he had questions about the Sandy Hook incident. Went on to, he had his own videos, like hours and long videos talking about like different
Mhm.
things and theories that he had about the whole thing. Alex Jones had invited him on and he talked about it and he was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And they also brought up one of the parents of there who they're saying it's kind of odd that he's sitting there laughing one moment before the
Yeah.
cameras start and then he's crying the second the cameras are on him. I
Right.
mean, when it comes to like the whole crisis actor thing, though, you can go on to like, was it like Craigslist and stuff, and you can find like crisis actors needed for X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't at that event, but it is a thing.
Oh yeah,
I
it
don't know.
absolutely is. But my main thing is that it's like they're constantly saying a lie because Jones did not repeatedly say
Right.
that it was a hoax and crisis actors.
Well, this is
I
what's
think
really
that they
crazy about the
was it
case. And
20
he's apologized. He's taken like things back. And what
but
they're trying to fault him
wasn't the
for.
total amount of time like under a minute for anything that he even talked about besides the fucking dude that came on there? Like
Mhm. It wasn't, yeah, it wasn't
yeah.
long. And they're blaming Alex Jones
Yeah.
for other people's actions because they're saying that they listened to him,
Right.
therefore they listened to him and then they went out and were, I guess, harassing some of the family members, which isn't a good thing to do at all.
Right.
But then they're placing, instead of blaming the people who are actually doing the harassing, they're blaming Jones because he had someone on who talked about it.
Right.
It's
Yeah, that's
kind of
right.
like, you know how like people are trying to get like the gun manufacturers to be
Yeah.
responsible for any, gun violence that happens or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah,
So,
because, people are never the problem. They can't think for themselves. They don't pull the trigger. It's always other things.
right. So this whole thing, it's at like $1.5 billion. They're trying to say that he was worth like hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars and stuff, and
Right.
insane. Insane. It's like, and it's on the heels too of like all the Trump cases and stuff too. I
Mhm.
mean, I've never seen anything like that before. Like you would think that if it's a defamation suit like that, that he was constantly, every day, every single day, putting names out there, putting their faces out there, saying, go get them, go do this, go do that. You would think that from
Mhm.
how much the settlement is for the defamation,
Right.
for like,
It's fucking
but he didn't.
ridiculous.
Right. It's wild. Wild.
Well, and like people are saying too, they're trying to use this as a precedent to also be like, well, don't say anything that you don't want taken to the point of $1.5 billion of debt.
Well, don't question anything either, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, where's Jose Campos? I'm just saying.
Mhm. Mhm.
Las Vegas.
Mhm.
Um,
No one ever talks
Jo
about that shit at all. And yet that
mm-mm.
gun sounded like a fucking an RPK fucking goddamn big ass machine gun. It was that's crazy the sounds that they're trying to say that was supposed to be like a regular AR shit. Like no, bro. No.
Yeah, no. A bunch of shit got buried on that one, that's for sure.
Mhm.
So during two civil trials in Texas and Connecticut, parents of the children testified that they were traumatized by Jones' hoax conspiracies and his followers' actions. They said that they were harassed and threatened by Jones believers. Oh, he's a cult leader now too. Some of whom confronted the grieving families in person, saying the shooting never happened and their children never existed. Now, this One parent said someone threatened to, oh God, dig up their son's grave.
That's
That's
just fucking ridiculous.
horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. But he didn't say go do that.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Like, yeah, all right. It says Jones is appealing the civil jury verdict, citing free speech rights and questioning whether the families proved any connection between his comments and the people who harassed and threatened the relatives. He has since acknowledged that the shooting did happen. In June, Lopez converted Jones's personal bankruptcy reorganization case into a liquidation, meaning many of his assets will be sold off to pay creditors except for his main home and other exempt properties. The same day, Lopez also dismissed Free Speech Systems bankruptcy case after Jones and the families could not reach an agreement on a final plan. The sell-off order Lopez intends to approve would put InfoWars and intellectual property up for auction on November 13th, including its trademark, copyrighted materials, social media accounts, and websites. Jones's personal social media sites, including his account on social platform X, which has 2.8 million followers, would not be included. However, the trustee overseeing Jones's bankruptcy case, Christopher Murray, said Tuesday that he may soon seek court permission to also liquidate Jones's personal social media accounts and his other intellectual property, which Jones attorneys have opposed. Dude, that
That's
issue
fucking
could,
ridiculous.
yep, could develop into another court fight in the bankruptcy case. Murray also is expected to sell many of Jones's personal assets. What the fuck?
That's fucking ridiculous.
That
man.
is overkill.
Yeah, to the max.
They want this guy gone.
Yeah.
Gone. Alex Jones will no longer own or control the company he built, Maddie said in a statement on Tuesday. This is Christopher Maddie, the lawyer for the Sandy Hook families in the Connecticut suit. This brings the families closer to their goal of holding him accountable for the harm he has caused. Brings us closer to the goal. So what's the actual goal? The actual goal is that he's
gone. Yeah.
He's gone. Damn. All right. The rest of InfoWars assets, including computers, video cameras, and other studio equipment, would be sold at a different auction on December 10th. Jones has made millions of dollars over the years selling dietary supplements, apparel, survival gear, books, and other items he's promoted on his show, which air on the internet and dozens of radio stations. It's unclear. See, here's the thing. So his show's on dozens of radio stations too. So if they wanted him gone, like, is his deals with these radio stations going to be gone too?
I would think so.
Why? Because it's an outside employer. Because he doesn't own these radio stations.
I mean, they might not be, but I would almost think that the radio stations would maybe just like cut them off so they don't have to deal with them. Unless some got his back and they're like, well, you can keep doing a show here.
Right. I mean, because some of those radio stations he's been on for like 20, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's unclear how much money would be raised by selling InfoWars and Jones's asset and how much money the Sandy Hook families would get. Jones has about $9 million in personal assets, according to court filings. Free Speech Systems is about $6 million in cash on hand and $1.2 million worth in inventory, according to previous court testimony. Then how did they come up with $1.5 billion?
It's a hell of a question. Jeez, I got all these fucking loud ass cars flying past my house. I'm like, God damn.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah. But this all together is a far cry from $1.5 billion.
I don't know how they got to that number. I can't remember exactly because somebody kind of explained it before. It might have even been Tracy Beans. But yeah, how they got toward that number, but it's fucking ridiculous. Like, how would you expect that man to have anywhere near $1 billion? It's ridiculous.
I know. Lawyers, financial experts, and others who worked on Jones's bankruptcy case who have racked up millions of dollars in fees and expenses are expected to be paid off first. A remaining legal dispute in the bankruptcy case is whether Free Speech Systems owes more than $50 million to another Jones-owned company, PQPR Holdings Limited. Free Speech Systems buys dietary supplements from PQPR to sell on the InfoWars website. PQPR said it wasn't paid for many of the supplements and filed liens. Sandy Hook lawyers allege the debt is bogus. If the debt is found to be valid, it would reduce any amount the Sandy Hook families ultimately get in from the liquidations.
Mm.
Dude.
Yeah, they're trying to just erase him.
Oh yeah. 100% they're just trying to erase him. Because that's just like there's something called excess. It's a little excessive.
Right.
But it's very telling in different things though too, like things that you can't question. Like you can just say, like if he was an asshole, you can be like, oh, he was an asshole for questioning that, you know? Like, but how they haven't proved in that article it even said that they didn't even prove that any connection between him and those people. So they're going through this whole process, but he's still on appeal. So they're just still going to go ahead and go and do all this stuff, even though that appeal is going through.
So it seems.
Yeah,
Yeah, yay, justice system, right? It's really fucking working.
Yeah, tell you what.
Speaking of the, oh, yeah, they just might. Speaking of some of that, software vendor Carasoft, I guess that's what it is, raided by FBI in Virginia. Federal agents on Tuesday searched the Washington area offices of Carasoft Technology Corporation, a major distributor of information technology products to government agencies, according to people familiar with the matter. I have never even heard of this company.
I've never even heard of them either.
Well, that could be why, because they're a distributor of information technology products to government agencies. That might be one reason why. Because to be honest, we never really heard of DARPA until they started coming out with other shit, or it got until their name got kind of leaked. And then everybody was like, "You've ever heard of this fucking crazy group, DARPA?"
DARPA.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
All right. Well, FBI and DCIS agents conducted a search at Carasoft Technology Corporation in Reston, Virginia on Tuesday. The FBI and Defense Criminal Investigative Service were present, collecting documents and computers. Mary Lang, a Carasoft representative, stated, "Carasoft is fully cooperating on this matter." Oh, I bet you people are. The Justice Department is investigating a company associated with Carasoft, a key player in the government technology procurement. Since its founding in 2004, Carasoft has achieved significant growth, ranking 45th among private companies in the U.S. with 11 billion revenue. That's pretty good to not be known. That's crazy. An FBI spokesperson confirmed the activity but did not provide further details. After the raid, the company's parking lot was nearly empty, indicating a significant disruption to normal operations. Carasoft contracts with the Social Security Administration, SEC, U.S. Treasury, and partners with Google, Oracle, CrowdStrike, and Palantir. That CrowdStrike was the one that went down not too long ago. On July 19th,
CrowdStrike was also had ties with like the Hillary Clinton stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah, on July 19th, CrowdStrike's major tech outage wreaked havoc on systems around the world, bringing airports, banks, supermarkets, and health systems crashing down. CrowdStrike's senior executive Adam Myers said artificial intelligence was not responsible for any part of CrowdStrike's global IT outage at a DHS subcommittee hearing Tuesday. It's unclear what company today's raid. It's unclear what company today's raid targeted. What? Thought that it was this company, like Carosoft. That's a weird way to end it.
Oh, it's the AI summary.
Well,
The
that's the whole thing
article.
is that I didn't think it had anything to do with AI either. I thought it was like an update that they did that didn't go over well with a bunch of fucking systems or something.
No,
That's what
I'm
I
talking about
heard.
the summary of
No.
the article is the AI summary.
Mm,
So it could have just been a malfunction. And is it blurry to you? It's blurry
yeah,
to
a
me.
little bit.
Okay.
I know I moved my camera a lot closer on my old boom mics for
Mm-hmm.
my boom mic stand, so it's a lot clearer. And so, because like if I'm all the way back in my TV, it is like so far away from me, and then I have to zoom in, so I look all fucking not 1080p, which is what I'm paying for on here. It's 1080p.
Yeah.
Look all scrambled out. So I'm like, fuck that. I want to bring it closer. Try something different.
I know. I was so stubborn for a long time with you guys being like, get a new camera. I'm like, no. You're like, get a new camera. No.
I know, and then
I'm
and
just
then
so
that's when
glad I got a new camera.
and and it looks good. I had I have the same one, me and Davey, but that's like my whole point too. It's like now I have this camera, it looks good from here, but when it's all the way over there, I can't because then I gotta zoom in, so you aren't seeing like my whole fucking living room.
Right. But so I wanted to bring up this
Mm-hmm.
Hey. Oh,
Yeah. At the same time.
I know.
Yeah. Long ass day. Good to have you here, Tweaked.
Mhm. Thanks for coming. So there was a congressional hearing going over basically FBI. Where's Rich? He sent it to me and I'm not what is it? It wasn't
Oh,
about
okay.
election interference. This is the one about
The FBI whistleblower.
yes, the FBI whistleblower for I don't remember what he was blowing the whistle on though.
He suspended him for misconduct for calling out the targeting of Republicans.
Oh, yes. And
Still
he
hasn't been
hasn't
paid for 27 months. Yeah.
yeah. And there were other people who had done that too, whistleblowers who hadn't been paid as well. And so this is kind of the exchange with Congressman Bishop and the I
The
forget his name.
whistleblower.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not on all cylinders right now. So,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to play this exchange. You know what I'll do though? I can speed up the video just a little bit. And we'll do that.
I know I've been to the Charlotte field office. I know some people there. I was extraordinarily impressed by you and the other whistleblowers when you
Uh-oh. What'd I do?
previously appeared before the subcommittee. I'm impressed by you again. I haven't been able to be here the whole time. I'm going to yield you some time, just if you have things that you wish to say in just a moment. But the first thing I'm going to say before I do that, and then I'm going to get
Right.
forward the rest of my time, is
We all should.
I'm just overwhelmingly troubled by the fact that no one seems to be able to do much about what has happened to you. You got the Inspector General, very respectable person. You've done a lot of things that have been historic, but you issue a management alert. And to me, it sounds ridiculous to say you don't think these guys at the FBI, the senior managers, understand that they shouldn't retaliate against somebody by putting them under extreme personal hardship while they engage in a completely baseless persecution over their security clearance.
And here's the thing that you need to know about this though too. So what's happening is there's an internal investigation going on, and during this internal investigation, no one's getting paid or anything like that. They're kind of like in limbo.
Right.
So it's like the FBI investigating themselves, and you'll hear this guy's response to it. Sorry, did you have something to add before I push play?
No.
Okay. If my mouse will work.
Clearance, and they leave them in limbo for 27 months, and to this moment haven't paid what I understand to be the consideration under the settlement that's been reached. That is astonishing. And if it's not, that's not astonishing enough, that all you can do is issue an alert. Congress does absolutely nothing. In the majority party, not one thing to impose on the Department of Justice or the FBI an appropriate sanction for what they've done. and we have a hearing about it, and everybody in the minority party, they're fearing what Donald Trump would do in the next administration, while they sit here and they look at the guy who's been persecuted by the FBI. And everybody in the room understands it. Mr. Allen, do you have comments you wish to make? I'll give you about a minute and a half, and then I want to turn the rest of my time to Mr. Jordan.
And this is from today.
I would just say that I consider the hearing today my last act of service as a public servant for the United States of America. And I'll give you my professional opinion. I was an intel professional for our country for many years, and I would give recommendations, and I'd also look at indications and warnings. So I would offer this to the American people as my warning to them. So this is a warning to the American people. I say, I personally have no confidence that the FBI will rein in its own conduct. I've been persecuted along with Garrett, Steve, and Kyle, and countless other whistleblowers. It is my opinion that the Bureau used reprisal and fear to control the workforce. It has been a seemingly effective tactic. I personally believe that there are no current effective checks and balances against them conducting lawless action with any type of correction in a legitimate time frame. I welcome the work of the IG, but I think any type of lawless action, there's no legitimate time frame to rein them back in. Their ability to overclassify information can allow them to stonewall forever. To the American people, you have a duty as a citizen to vote, and I strongly urge you to do so. It's how you participate in the American experience. I know people have doubts about election integrity, but you must vote. It is your claim. Stake your claim and don't forfeit it willingly. Have your voice heard. My other recommendations are in the natural order. First, vote. The second is the Second Amendment. Arm yourself and know how to defend yourself. Make 3 to 4 friends in your neighborhood and promise to come to each other's mutual aid in times of hardship. And during the Great Depression, people stocked up a pantry. So I think that's a good practice, especially in our economic times, and make sure you have 3 to 4 months of food. As a person of faith, I'd say pray the rosary, go to the First Friday devotions. That's for everybody, all my brothers and sisters of all faiths, and I know I'm Catholic, and read the gospel of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and live it every day. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for the time.
You know, Mr. Allen, the fact that there are servants like you who have borne up under persecution that a lot of political leaders in this country do not care about is the thing that heartens the American people. And I'm confident the American people will resolve the situation, no matter how weak Washington.
Him saying that ending, he thinks something bad is coming.
Well, the dude has been prosecuted. Like, how could you feel safe, honestly, working for the FBI itself? You see something wrong that is happening, you bring it to people's attention, and then you see how your own government is treating you. Like, how could you feel safe?
Right.
At all.
Very true. Yeah.
You know, like there's no place to go. Literally, there's no other place to go.
Right.
We were it.
And then say we should play that video of that one lady saying what the FBI is for.
Oh, I have it up. I have it.
All right, yeah.
I was just gonna. Yep, we're reading my mind.
Yeah, let's play this stupid shit.
This subcommittee, because it's necessary for the public. And what is the point of this subcommittee? Because it's necessary for the public and the media to hear, to try and provide cover for the eradication of the Department of Justice and the FBI. We are having these hearings so that you become immune. You become inured to the notion of the removal of the FBI and DOJ, so that those agencies are no longer there to serve as a check against white nationalism, great replacement theorists, Christian nationalists, white fragility, fascists, and the twice impeached convicted felon, former president and would-be dictator, Donald Trump. What is the point of this?
Okay, lady.
Sorry, I'm gonna need just a second. I know we're live, but I hear my son crying, and I just need to text my husband to go check on him real quick.
That's all right. I'll bring up this other thing that I kind of wanted to bring up. This has to do with Telegram, if you happen to be on Telegram.
Before we go on to that, I just want to say something about what the Stacey Plaskett just said. This is off the heels of a second assassination attempt for Donald Trump. Seriously? Like, they cannot help themselves with the rhetoric that they have against that man. Like, it is insane. Like, They
Mhm.
literally they're still on this thing that he's a dictator. The dude is in president right now. He left.
Mhm. And he would have been that when he was in there.
Right. So I don't understand what's going on right now.
It's
And
all
it's just like
fear-mongering bullshit.
it is fear-mongering bullshit. And it's just like they can't, because what happens is sometimes when you see someone who has the big mo going
Mhm.
on, he's got the big momentum happening right now. And then they have these assassination attempts, which gets people being like, what the hell is going on? Helping out with the big mo. So they have to be like, no, 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 we're not going to talk about that anymore or anything. He's a threat to democracy. The threat to democracy is, the people trying to shoot the man.
Right.
I don't know. I got thoughts, obviously.
Mhm. Oh, and this is gonna be I had a feeling maybe something like this was gonna happen, but I was hoping not, but we'll see. I mean, I can understand kind of some of it, but Telegram CEO Durov says app to provide more data to governments. So Telegram to provide user data in response to legal requests. Durov faces charges in France for crimes committed on his app. Messaging app Telegram will provide users IP addresses and phone numbers to relevant authorities in response to valid legal requests, according to Chief Executive Officer Pavel Durov. That sounds weird, but yeah, the
Mhm.
platform changed its terms of service to deter criminals from abusing it. Durov said in a post on Telegram Monday, the move comes less than a month after his arrest in France, where he faces charges of alleged complicity of the spread of child abuse, sexual abuse materials, which that I obviously disapprove of.
Right. But what it's another thing of I don't have him personally, no, but that it was on his platform, which is not good at
Right,
all. But go after the people who are doing it.
right.
What
Like,
what what it is, I mean, is this whole thing of using something bad. Like think of even like the Alex Jones case though too. They're blaming him for something that other people are doing.
mhm,
It's like how many times have people even said with Twitter, like, hey, you have all this stuff happening on this platform. You need to get it off. Where were all the lawsuits and the governments coming after, Jack Dorsey
right,
when that was
exactly. Or I was
going
gonna
on?
say, what about Zuckerberg right now? That's like the biggest
Right.
one of the biggest things for child pornography and like trafficking and stuff is through Facebook and its messaging and all that.
Yeah. And with Telegram, the why it is such a why it's so dangerous to these governments is because it is an encrypted platform.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
and he wasn't playing ball with them.
They can't be having that. They can't have privacy.
Mm-mm. Nope. You're not allowed that.
Yep. Trying to think if there's any other thing that I do want to bring up. Nah, not really.
Yeah, I didn't have anything else either. I was like, oh no, it's because I didn't
Yeah.
see much. Um, but yeah, I don't have anything. That's all I got. I haven't been able to, like, really look and see what else has been going on in the world today.
Yeah. There hasn't been a whole hell of a lot of I'm sure there's some other shit that we could possibly go into, but meh, whatever. My main thing would be just keep an eye on what's going on across seas because it does seem like things are heating up, even though they're telling you by 2029 or some shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see how all that goes, but that'd be the main thing that I would say. Keep your eye kind of on that, and hopefully nothing else crazy happens toward Trump before election
Well
time. We'll see.
well, October, begins next week, and,
Yep.
there's always an October surprise. Oh! Oh, we need to go back to that article.
Which
Hold
article?
on. Hold on. Oh, what was it? Hold on. I'll have to find it. Hold on. It was about um the trio
Oh, the
relationship that can bring down the GOP or something like that. It was like,
yeah, that's right. It
uh,
was on that one news site that you're on.
what was that news site?
I don't know.
What was I on? I think it was The Guardian, maybe. Oh no! I actually really wanted to read that too. Right. I really did.
It was something about like a threesome sex scandal or something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Uh. Sex scandal that can bring down the GOP or something like that, right?
Yeah, it was something like that. Which I'm sorry, but if dudes banging on the Senate floor didn't bring down the Democrats, whatever you guys are trying to swing at us, probably ain't gonna do nothing.
Right. Let's see. Ugh, now my internet doesn't want to work for me.
Of course.
Well, poo. I really wanted to find it. Honestly, I'm gonna go back into our
Oh,
our show and watch it just to bring it. Yeah.
oh yeah,
See?
your internet is messing up. It's getting you all like sounding like the dude from Back to the Future, like
Yeah. All right. Another day. We'll
yeah,
read about sex scandals
yeah. Another day for that.
to find it. Yeah.
But on that, do you want to plug anything, your show or any of that?
Yeah, well, so yeah, go watch me and Haley on Pretty Antisocial on Monday and Wednesday mornings at 11 a.m. This Wednesday, actually this morning. Jesus, it was this morning. We did a whole kind of deep dive in Smart School by 9. And it's like this really creepy story about this guy in the UK who dresses up like a schoolboy.
Mm,
And like it's kind of like this internet mystery that's happening right now. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Don't Fuck with Cats, like that whole
mm.
documentary where like
Yeah.
we're trying, like the internet is trying to find this person because the stuff that they've been putting out on the internet is really disturbing, and like they use pictures of actual children and like manipulate them to look very odd.
Mm.
And yeah, so we did a whole deep dive on that today. So go check that out. And yeah, that's all I got.
Right on. That does sound fucked up. I want to look into that now.
Yeah. Go watch our show from this morning.
Yeah. Pretty Antisocial on Rumble and YouTube. Are you guys doing on X
Mhm.
also? Or
Not
is
on
Haley
X, but
shit?
we have a Twitch now
Good. So yeah,
and
follow
on
him on Twitch
Twitch.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I always forget to plug the Twitch. So yeah.
Yep. And on that note, be here on Friday for Memedom Kingdom, where it's just laughs, unwind, talking shit, and no serious stuff, really, pretty much at all. That's how Fridays roll around here. But beyond that, I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you for being here for the show, and we will talk to y'all later. Have a good one.